Welcome to Hockey Talks podcast. In this podcast, I'll be talking about the most disappointing NHL teams so far this season. In this podcast, I'll be talking about the most disappointing teams in the NHL so far this season. I'll be talking about one per division. The most disappointing team in the Atlantic Division are the Detroit Red Wings. The Detroit Red Wings are a team that seems to have no direction and are in a never-ending rebuild. They only have 66 goals for. Only 3 teams have scored less goals than Detroit. Things may get worse for Detroit, with both Alex Lyon and Cam Talbot sidelined. Their goaltending might struggle, so Detroit is just a mess at the moment. The Detroit Red Wings are a disappointing team this season because coming into the season, a lot of fans and experts thought that they might possibly be able to contend for a wildcard spot. But so far this season, they have actually regressed. And not only have they not made strides to be a playoff team, they have actually regressed and they have made no strides to becoming a playoff team. The Red Wings have actually gotten pretty solid production from their core players such as Dylan Larkin, Lucas Raymond, Alex DeBrincat, and Marin Seider. However, Patrick Kane was injured early in this season, and offseason acquisitions like Vladimir Tarasenko haven't really panned out. Their depth scoring is non-existent, basically. They need to get more depth scoring out of players Tarasenko, Bergen, Casper, JT Comfort. Their defense also doesn't help much on the offensive side of the puck. Jeff Petrie has regressed quite a bit. Ben Sherratt doesn't help on the offensive side of the puck. However, rookie defenseman Simon Edvinsson has been a pleasant surprise. As I alluded to before, both Cam Talbot and Alex Lyon are both injured now. This is actually a huge blow to the Red Wings because Cam Talbot was having a great season before getting injured. They will now have to turn to Ville Husso and a rookie Sebastian Cossa in net. As of this moment, there isn't a quick fix for the Red Wings roster, as the Red Wings are pretty close to the cap. They have a lot of dead weight on the roster, such as Andrew Kopp, who is getting paid $5 million per season and does very little to help the roster. They also have several anchors on defense, like Justin Hall and Ben Sherratt. These bad contracts end up looming huge when the team is struggling, especially when they decided to give away Jake Wallman for nothing. Since you can't get rid of all the players on the roster, another option is to get a new coach. Although I'm not a huge fan of firing coaches, it is the easy solution as coaches are replaceable and you can't get rid of half the roster. If the Red Wings are not in a playoff spot come the deadline, I would suggest trading off anyone that has trade value so we can get some picks and some prospects. But seeing as how the Red Wings are playing like complete garbage, I can see the Red Wings cleaning house and getting rid of all the dead weight and just building around their core players. And now a word from our sponsor. Check out my scouting blog at HockeyWith777scouting.com. Listen to my scouting blog podcast on podcasters.spotify.com/pod/show/HockeyWith777scouting. The most disappointing team in the Metropolitan Division are the New York Islanders. The New York Islanders are currently last in the Metropolitan Division and have a 2-5-3 record in their last 10 games. The Islanders aren't really great at anything. They struggle to score, only having scored 69 goals this season, the 6th least in the NHL, and have allowed 82 goals against, which is a high amount for an Islander team that prides itself on its defensive prowess. The New York Islanders are a disappointing team because they were expected to compete for a wildcard spot, and while they might not have made the playoffs, they were expected to be a competitive team. Not only have the Islanders not been a competitive team this year, but they have struggled to close out games, something they have excelled at in the past. Thanks to injuries to Matt Barzal and Anthony Duclair, the Islanders are struggling to score. However, they're getting a huge bounce-back season from Anders Lee, and they're also getting some production from free agent signing Maxim Slipakov. Brock Nelson and Kyle Palmieri have been their usual self. They've been productive, but they need more production out of Bo Horvat. And the other players in the lineup just pretty much are there to log minutes. The biggest disappointment this season has to be Noah Dobson. Dobson had 72 points last season, but this season he isn't finding it as easy to score points. The Islanders have always had issues with depth scoring, but it is magnified when Matt Barzal is out. They also lost a major part of their D-core with Adam Pelech being out, so injuries have caused the Islanders to plummet in the standings. Then there's goaltending. Neither Ilya Sorokin nor Semyon Varlamov have been good this year. Before the season, some people would still debate whether Ilya Sorokin is an elite goalie. But after 2 subpar years, I think it'd be safe to say that Sorokin may not be considered an elite goalie anymore. Thankfully for the Islanders, I think there is a fix for them, as I expect them to go on a huge second season surge when Matt Barzal, Anthony Duclair, and Adam Pelech come back. Matt Barzal is the driving force of their offense, and when he returns, their offensive production should increase, while Adam Pelech will stabilize their defense. Lou Lamoriello teams are hardly ever active at the trade deadline, but I could see them adding a veteran winger at the deadline. The Nashville Predators came into this season with lots of hype surrounding the team because they went big game hunting and were able to land 3 major free agents in Steven Stamkos, Jonathan Marchessault, and Brady Shea. They also locked up UC Saros to a long-term extension. However, in doing so, they lost their team identity as a smash-mouth team that was tough to play against, and they also had to deal with integrating a few star players into their lineup. Worst of all that firepower they brought in hasn't exactly translated into production, as they have the least goals for in the league. The Nashville Predators just might be the most disappointing team in the NHL, just because of expectation versus reality. A lot of people expected Predators to be a legit contender this year because of the proven superstar talent they added. However, they haven't gotten the offensive production from them, and they have gotten worse defensively. Their best offensive player has been defenseman Roman Josi, who leads the team in points. UC Saros has excellent personal stats. However, the team continuously manages to blow third period leads. There are a few bright spots on the Nashville Predators, such as Roman Josi and Philip Forsberg, and their power play managed to click, but their 5-on-5 play is dreadful. Their big free agent acquisition, Steven Stamkos, has 7 goals and 13 points, and is a minus 15. However, 6 of his 7 goals are on the power play, and 10 of his points are on the power play. This means he only has 3 even strength points. Their other big free agent acquisition, Jonathan Marchessault, only has 5 goals and 13 points. 7 of his points are on the power play. Brady Shea is the best of the 3 free agent signings. He has 9 points in 27 games and is a minus 4, while logging over 21 minutes of ice time. Gustav Nyquist has seen quite a drop-off in production from last season. Last year, he had 23 goals, 52 assists for 75 points, along with 24 points on the power play. This year, he only has 6 goals and 10 points and is a minus 15, with 0 power play points. This is due to the fact that they added Marchessault and Stamkos, so he no longer plays on the first power play unit. Ryan O'Reilly is the forgotten member on the first line. While he may not get as much production as Forsberg, he has 14 points in 26 games and is a minus 13 with 5 power play points. He will be out week to week, so his absence will loom large, as he has the best face-off percentage on the team with 55.2%. UC Saros should have a much better record than he does. He has a 6-11 record with a 2.64 GAA and .911 save percentage. There were a few games this year where they had the lead going into the third period, but then they squandered the lead. It's not out of the possibility that Saros could be at 11 wins had they not blown third period leads. As bad as the Nashville Predators have played early in the season, I think there is a fix for the team, with the star power on the team. Because of the veteran presence and the experience on the team, I think they will be able to turn the season around. I expect the Nashville Predators to add some veteran pieces at the trade deadline, because by adding players like Stamkos and Marchessault, that indicates that the Predators want to make a playoff run. Check out my hockey blog at hockeywithtalkshockey.blogspot.com. Follow me on Facebook and Instagram at hockeywith777. The San Jose Sharks are the biggest losers in the Pacific Division. The San Jose Sharks were expected to be one of the worst teams in the league, and although there are some bright spots with the team, you can't overlook the fact that they have allowed the most goals against in the league. San Jose has some players that can put the puck in the net though. They have three players with more than 20 points and 9 players with more than 10 points. The San Jose Sharks weren't expected to make the playoffs, but they did have a bit of hype surrounding them because they had the number 1 pick from the 2024 draft in Macklin Celebrini, and they added pieces like Alexander Wenberg, Tyler Toffoli, Klim Kostin, Carl Grundstrom, Ty Dellandrea, Cody Ceci, and Jake Wallman, and also traded for goaltending prospect Yaroslav Askarov. So the Sharks did have some expectation heading into the season with their young group. Their young players have been as advertised. Macklin Celebrini has been excellent. He has 15 points in 17 games, but only 3 points on the power play. But what is more impressive than his stats is his two-way play. Typically, it takes a lot longer for younger players to get how to play on the defensive side of the puck, but Celebrini is head and shoulders above other young players in that department. William Eklund was their first round pick in 2021. He has 23 points in 28 games with 6 power play points. He is slowly starting to become a star in the league. Jake Wallman, who the Sharks got for free from the Red Wings, has 19 points in 24 games, while logging 22 minutes of ice time. Despite the positives with the Sharks, there are also a lot of negatives about the team. Neither Mackenzie Blackwood nor Vitek Vanacek have been great. Blackwood has been the better of the two, posting a 6-8 record with 3 overtime losses. He has a 3.00 GAA and a .907 save percentage. Vitek Vanacek has been dreadful, with a 3-6-1 record, a 3.89 GAA, and a .883 save percentage. The defense has not been great in front of them though. Outside of Jake Wallman, Sharks defense has not been great. Mario Ferraro has been dreadful this year, having a team worst -13. Cody Ceci hasn't been great either. He has a -4 rating while logging 22 minutes of ice time. The Sharks team got a lot better after adding Timothy Liljegren from the Maple Leafs. And although he doesn't add much offensive production to the lineup, he has helped in stabilizing the blue line. As with many young teams, San Jose struggles with consistency. One game they'll be really good and another game they'll be really bad, but that is to be expected when you have so many young players in the lineup. You don't expect to fix this issue overnight. As San Jose was expected to be a rebuilding team, I expect the Sharks to sell off any player that has value and trade them at the deadline so they can add more picks and prospects to the team. The overall goal for this season for the Sharks is to develop their young players and put them in a better position 2 years down the line. Other disappointing teams in the NHL, the Ottawa Senators, Pittsburgh Penguins, Chicago Blackhawks, and Seattle Kraken. The Ottawa Senators are a team that always has a ton of offseason hype around them because they make good offseason moves, but those moves don't translate into results on the ice. The Pittsburgh Penguins are a mess. They have given up 104 goals against, the second most in the league. And although they are starting to play better lately, their defense leaves much to desire. The Chicago Blackhawks were expected to miss the playoffs, but no one expected them to be on the verge of ruining Connor Bedard's superstar trajectory. The Seattle Kraken came into the season with plenty of hype and expectation, but now sit at just 500 and are just above San Jose and Anaheim in the Pacific Division. Listen to Hockey Wiz Talks podcast on Podbean and Spotify. In my next podcast, I'll be talking about the Calder Trophy race.